Hello, everybody, wherever you may be, from coast to coast and sea to shining sea. My name's Larry. My call sign, Amateur Radio, is Kilo 7 Hotel November. A very happy Thursday to you. Friday, if you're west of the dateline, let's get into your solar weather forecast for Thursday, November 3rd, 2022. A1A looks good. Actually, you can see there at 10 o'clock, bright area coming. That's another sunspot region coming on the northern hemisphere of the sun. Look for that to start impacting our weather coming up by Saturday. Should have some good conditions coming back to us over the weekend. This illustrates a little better, little size there. If you take a look at this carefully from the stereo ahead spacecraft, you're taking a look at a little bit to the left side of that white crescent. That would be the east limb. That would be the whole bit of the sun we can see. But then a little past that, that's a little bit behind the sun. We're seeing that sunspot region starting to come around there at 10 o'clock. Also one right about the midpoint. Looks like it's starting to come up here on the sun's future. I'd say by probably Sunday, Monday. No, probably not that late. Probably Sunday. We'll have that sunspot there. That's about 9 o'clock on the sun. Hit the midpoint. Magnetosphere view. Now, this is if you took all the brightness away from the sun, the flares, everything, and just focused on the sunspot regions themselves. Here is what it looked like yesterday, and here is what it looks like as we move through today. All right. That shows a little area around 10 o'clock. That's going to be a sunspot region. An active region there between 3137 and 3135. I think we get some good SFI here coming by the weekend, but we're going to get maybe a little dip here later today. We'll get in the forecast here. Coronal hole map. Now, coronal holes, these are areas of the sun that can elevate the solar wind and the radiation coming from the sun towards Earth. 39 is facing Earth. Now, typically, coronal holes are on the north and south poles of the sun. You can see one at the North Pole here, but 39 has an increased solar wind component to us here on Earth today, and we'll get to that. We'll explain what's going on in terms of our HF forecast in a moment. Solar flare detection. We've got a pretty stable sun the last 3 days, 5 sunspot regions currently facing Earth, and a little dip earlier today and now coming back up towards that sea level baseline. I think we'll see maybe a little drop in SFI today and then a bump coming up hopefully by Friday. Current SFI, we're up 2 from yesterday, 130. Smooth sunspot number is down 14 to 49. Area number is at 280. That's down 80. Metrics here would show probably a drop in SFI. Won't be big, but it should come as they do the next SFI release here about 1 p.m. Pacific time. KP index, this is the fly in the ointment, the problem, so to speak. KP5, that is a pretty interesting situation because it's going to pump up the aurora, but it's also going to bring noise floors up significantly. Let's take a look at the 3-day geomagnetic forecast. We got a G0 storm right now, but we could hit a G1 today. KP4 forecast for today down to a 3 tomorrow and up to a 4 or 5 on Saturday. So noise floors coming up. Let's look at what this does. When we have the KP index, which is our noise floors, static on the band, so to speak, we see the aurora start to come up. Here's the aurora borealis right now. You can see the northern countries of Europe and, working the aurora can do that today for sure. And then in the aurora australis, that's getting active as well. That's just due to the KP index rising up now to a KP5. QRZ conditions stay SFI 130, sunspot number 60. There's your elevated A index, right? Remember, the A index is a 24-hour compilation of the K index, and the K index currently is at 5. That's a minor geomagnetic storm. Take a look below. Signal to noise level, S4 to S6. So we could have some very high noise floors today. Mid-latitude aurora workers have a chance to work today, and I do believe some scattered 6-meter E-skip going to be available as well. BZ latitude, that's good. It's 2.3 positive, so we shouldn't have as much fade on the bands as we did yesterday. And that solar wind component is up to 551.1 kilometers per second. And that's simply because of coronal hole number 39, and it's shooting some radiation towards Earth because, believe it or not, let's look at where that 39, take a look where it's at, and then take a look here. Solar plague right in that same area. The elevated solar wind is bringing us a high A index today. So that's going to be a little loud on the bands. Current maximum usable frequencies worldwide, this is what it looks like as of 1815 UTC. Looking closer at the northern hemisphere towards Europe and North America. If you're in North America right now, you're really bisecting that 10-meter band pretty much from Hudson Bay all the way down to Baja. That's about the level of 10 meters. It will continue to go towards the west and north as the day goes by. 18 megahertz is your your maximum usable frequency right about Denver, 21 Southern California, and then comes 10 meters, 34 in Brownsville, Texas, 35 Pensacola, Florida, 31 Great Lakes, 36 Virginia, 35 New England, heading towards Europe, 16 in Great Britain, 17 France, 13 in the eastern part of Germany, heading towards the south part of Europe, 24 in Portugal, 21 Spain, 15 if you're in Italy, 14 if you're in Greece. Heading towards the southern hemisphere, great conditions. Look at those 40 megahertz numbers there in South America. Some amazing conditions going on there, and it really is going to be acting very, very strong for some good north-south propagation both today and tomorrow for the northern hemisphere to contact hams and amateurs there in the southern hemisphere. That'll go both for Europe earlier in the day towards Africa and, of course, North America towards South America, as well as towards Africa and Northern Europe there. If you're, say, north in the southern part of Sweden or Norway, Denmark, you should get 10 meters tomorrow, and it should work well towards Africa as well towards South and North America. Good conditions to work on 10 meters tomorrow for you in Europe and today here in North America. Far East, the Japan right now, right about 9 megahertz. They'll hit 10 meters later today, just a matter of when sunrise comes over there. Nice conditions and little lot high in the noise floors, but for the most part, good conditions there in Japan. Look at Australia, 16 megahertz right now, about Townsville, 13 if you're in Brisbane, 9 megahertz towards Sydney. These people, right there between Sydney and Townsville on 20 meters. South of there, you're on 40 meters. And even in Perth right now is close to the 20-meter band as well. So Australia, be prepared for 10 meters coming a little after sunrise. It'll be within a couple of hours. And also both North and South Islands of New Zealand expect some 10-meter activity today as well. Your ham and shortwave forecast for today, powered by ICOM. I'm going to drop the QSB warning. I think we're clear on that. I don't think we have to worry about any QSB today on the bands. We've had a good positive BZ latitude for most of the day. I think we'll be good. SFI is to remain plus or minus 10. So I expect a drop today, but it's not going to be, I think, more than 10. And I believe on the weekend, we're going to see a little bump in SFI. So stable conditions, good to make some great calls. Looking for a rise in SFI by the late weekend. Your noise floor is Northern Hemisphere, S1 to S2 at times. It's going to increase, though, to S2, S4 at times like it is right now. And that might go up to an S6 by Friday. So some loud conditions on the bands, noise floors there below 10 megahertz. Voice bands in the equatorial latitude, so tropic to tropic, 20, 17, 15, 12 in the 10-meter band. CB radio skip, Southern Hemisphere, also 20, 17, 15, 12, and 10 if you're north of about 50 degrees south. So north of 50 degrees south, you get 12 and 10. If you're south of 50 degrees south in the southern hemisphere, you'll lose 12 and 10. Data modes, great day to work data modes in amateur radio. 30 to 10 meters in north, mid, and south latitudes. Your CB radio skip on 11 meters should be brilliant today in the north, mid, and south latitudes as well. Shortwave listeners, your daytime bands, 31, 25, 22 in the 19-meter band. Shortwave nighttime, noise floors S1 to S3 today, rising as high as S6 at times, as they are right now, should bottom out to S2, S4 by Friday. Bands open tonight, 120, 90, 75, 60, 49, 41, 31, 25, 22, and the 19-meter band. Open to the southern hemisphere about 90 minutes or so after sunset, and the signals will fade away. This is a really special time in amateur radio and shortwave to make some great calls. We have a good SFI. We have a little bit of a high noise floor issue, but hopefully you'll be able to make some calls in loud conditions. And remember, we get to 20 and 17 and 15. Those are quieter. And when 10 is open as it is way north and way south, amazing calls can be made. Also, watch for some really good tropospheric ducting right now on VHF. I heard a neat video from Chris in the UK, 2 Echo Zero Union Kilo Hotel, picking up some VHF long-distance tropospheric ducting from the East Coast all the way to the UK. So if you're in the UK, take a listen on about 31 to 33 megahertz and see if you can pick it up. My name's Larry. My call sign, Amateur Radio's Kilo 7 Hotel November. God bless you. There's your weather update. I'll be back with the full Ham Radio Live Show in just a moment. Thanks for watching. Goodbye, everybody.